Hey, what is up, YouTube? Andrew Rooney here, full-time drummer and drum teacher based right here in Auckland, New Zealand. Going to address a subscriber question here. Now, hopefully this is all right. I haven't checked with this person, but Shaun of the Dead 420, a good movie, by the way, great movie, has put this out publicly on my channel, so I thought I'd answer it, and I think it's just such an open and honest way to reach out, and it's just such a good question. It could be relevant to a lot of people, and perhaps part or some of my ramblings or rants on this one will help you out there make a decision, including, of course, the person asking, Shaun of the Dead 420. Hey Andrew, love your reaction videos. Was hoping you could offer your 2 cents, may help me out. I'm thinking of quitting drums. I see no end game in it. When I started, I wanted to play in a band. It was within reach, but now I have a wife, own a home, and it just isn't a realistic goal I can dedicate the time to. I feel no interest in playing anymore. I haven't even set up my drums in my new place after having them in storage for 5 years. I just don't see the point anymore. I always used to want to play, now I just don't want to. Should I keep them or sell them and maybe pay down my mortgage a little bit? What are your thoughts? I'd appreciate it a lot, thanks. That's a big question, man. Shaun of the Dead 420. That's a big question. So my first instinct is to not sell the gear. I feel like you will probably regret it. I don't know where you are. I'm going to assume you're possibly in the States. I don't know what the secondhand market is for gear there, how much you're going to get for it. The mortgage, paying down the mortgage, that's an interesting twist in there. I mean, I don't know. This could be a really expensive drum kit. It would need to be to make any sort of meaningful dent on a mortgage repayment. But yeah, generally I don't like the idea of selling gear purely because of the regret. I always regret selling gear that I have sold in the past. Okay, not always, but I've always had multiple kits on the go. So I've always had at least 1 or 2 or 3 to keep me happy at any one point. And in terms of expensive kits versus cheaper kits, they both do the same job.
Oh, right.
I'll let that sit for a while because I might get a little bit of hate, or I might get, of course, you're going to get the typical,
yeah, but if you've got a more expensive kit, you love it more, so you play it.
Yeah. That's fine. They both do the same thing. A Pearl Export or a Yamaha Stage Custom can do everything that a $10,000, $20,000 drum kit can do. I feel like the fire is still there for you, at least a little bit, or you wouldn't be asking the question. But at the same time, you're struggling for motivation. This gets a little bit complicated because, now I don't want to misquote you. You said that the goal was to play in a band. So you're not aiming for that goal anymore, and your motivation and inspiration has waned. Now, these two things are diametrically opposed and just completely solidly linked. If you've got no goal, you've got no real reason to play. Now, the goal could be as simple as, I love playing. Fine, that's going to get you on the kit. Or the goal could be, I've got to play this Saturday. I've got to learn these 10 songs, which is a real good motivation to keep going and to put in the hard yards. So part of this is the goal piece, and then part of it, there just doesn't appear to be any goal. And, we get that whole thing of I don't have the time, busy, married, house, mortgage, all, life stuff, of course. So in a way, and this is common, and again, I appreciate your openness and honesty, so don't take this the wrong way, but I think one is becoming the barrier to the other. You need that goal, whatever it is. So in terms of playing with other people, I would find one other person. Keep this small and manageable and achievable. Find one person who plays an instrument. Maybe you've got a friend who plays guitar. Maybe you don't know anyone who plays an instrument. Find out. Your local church, local community, I don't know if you've got like a Facebook group for your small area. Find someone who plays guitar and just say, hey, does anyone want to jam? Decide on a song with this person. Maybe this person's in the same boat. They're not feeling overly confident. They're not gigging. They're not overly experienced. Decide on a song and stick with it. And just play that together. Keep it real small. Let's get together and play one song. I guarantee it'll be fun. It'll light at least a little bit of a fire. I would be amazed if it didn't. Now, my big piece of advice here, and this is coming from, drum teacher guy, is get lessons. Honestly, it is just completely underestimated. It's like getting a personal trainer, right? Honestly, get lessons. Nothing kicks you in the butt like getting a great teacher. It's like sort of sitting on the couch eating potato chips versus hiring a personal trainer and saying, right, let's do this. Being accountable to someone, whether it's that drum coach or that band member or that gig you got to do, that is the key. We need some type of reason. We need a why here. Otherwise, the kit's just going to stay curled up in the closet and never see the light of day again or get sold. Now, when I say get a drum teacher, get a drum coach, get a good one. It's got to be a good one. If you're just with someone who's just churning through the lessons and they're like, your time's up now, and you're just going through real unmotivating things, it's not going to work. You need to find someone, you need to be really open like you were on this message and just say, hey, I'm really struggling for motivation here. I need a bit of a North Star as to what I'm aiming for. For me recently, now I'm getting lessons at the moment, which I'm sure is going to be surprising to people.
Hey, you're a drum teacher, you're getting lessons. Oh, what sort of drum teacher are you?
Yeah, people don't understand how this thing works. I'm always trying to upskill. I'm a drum student although I teach drums full time, I'm a student of the drums. I'm always trying to learn and trying to improve. And I'm getting lessons at the moment. And one of the big things that I've been working on with my teacher for the last 6 months specifically was shuffles. You would have seen a lot of shuffle videos on the channel, and they've improved out of sight, and I'm so happy. And it was just something really clear. I got given a bunch of stuff to work on, a bunch of songs, bunch of exercises, and it worked. It really, really worked. And because you're ticking off those goals and you're improving and you can see it and you video yourself and you look back at where you were and where you are now, that is really motivating. And I honestly cannot stress enough, find a good drum coach. I don't think it'll be too hard to find someone good in your local area. I mean, you can go online as well, of course, but it is nice to be in the room with someone, especially when you're just getting back on the horse. I do think drums is a little bit like riding a bike. I don't think it's going to take you a long time to get back to wherever you were, but I don't think that's going to be enough. From what reading between the lines of what you said, I think you want a little bit more. You want to feel good about drums and get things moving. You're going to have to get some help there. It's a big barrier for a lot of people, especially adults. Adults feel really self-conscious about getting lessons, and ego plays a big part in this, where you don't want to be going to another person and being open and vulnerable, about your playing and about your mindset with regards to the instrument. If that's realistically not going to happen, you of course can take my Drumeo trial. You get 30 days completely free to check out the Drumeo site. That's just what I can offer you. And you could go in there, I don't know what sort of music you're into, so you can just literally go into the search bar within Drumeo. Maybe you're into metal drumming, type in double bass course, which I've recently done on Drumeo, and do the double bass course, and sort of at least you've got some structured things that you can go through and start improving and ticking off. Maybe it's not that, maybe it's jazz. Of course, you just type in the search bar jazz or blues or whatever you're into is absolutely fine. Whatever's going to get you motivated. So yeah, my key thing here would be to find your why, which is, I think it's still there for you. I think it is still there. It might be buried deep inside, but I think it's still there. Find your why. What do you want to do? Do you want to say, no, actually, no, I do want to play in a band. Cool. But I think whatever the goal is, I think the real journey to get there is finding a good drum coach. Search around, ask people what their experiences were with different drum teachers. If everybody's just saying, look, this person is the guy or gal, seek them out. Now, where I would go with the sell the gear option would only be if, let's say, you had an expensive acoustic kit and you couldn't play it. Maybe you're in a living situation where you cannot realistically play an acoustic kit. It's just too loud. Maybe sell that down, get an e-kit. I mean, as long as you can play it, get some pads. You should be doing like a daily, I'm on the pad daily working through stuff. That should be like your veggies that you're having. You got to build it up and have them every day to get healthier on the kit. Now, final thing, I did say, if you went for the Drumeo option, you could search for what you really like and work on that. Maybe the answer is do something completely left field. Let's say you're an extreme metal drummer. I keep using the metal example on all my videos. Let's say you're an extreme metal drummer and that's just your thing. Find a teacher in your area who teaches Afro-Cuban, jazz, something actually outside your wheelhouse. You might be surprised how fun and inspiring it can be. It could just set off a whole new musical journey and possibly a new musical destination that you want to get to. I've always found that super inspiring in the past. And you can just openly and honestly, legitimately go in as a complete beginner and just say, I don't know a thing about jazz or, Cuban music or whatever you want it to be. And you can just say, I really don't know anything about this at all. This is kind of fun. I'm like coming in like explain this to me like I'm a kid sort of vibe. And that is just really, really rewarding. Shaun of the Dead 420, thank you so much for reaching out. It's a great question. You're not alone. I've stopped playing at various points throughout my life, and probably a couple of those times as well, I thought, that's it. Or, even worse, I didn't even think about it. I just, it was gone. It always made a way back. But yeah, find that why, man. Good luck to you and to anyone else out there that potentially this video speaks to. Ciao.